I've played a lot of different sports. I've done a lot of different jobs. I've done a lot of different things where physical exertion was how you measured, even to where like that short time I was in air crew school when you had to run and do so much stuff. And nothing compares to
To
trying
you.
to get ready for a bodybuilding contest. It is
Oh, it's tough.
it's
It's
a
tough.
different thing. It's not, you can't compare it to training to jump higher on a box or run faster on a track. I mean, at least with performance sports, if you're within a window of weight where you can perform, you can just eat a little more and train harder, and you'll have the energy to push that. Bodybuilding, when you're dieting, you don't have the energy and you still have to push that hard.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Paradise Pump. What's going on, Jed?
Not much. I just had somebody compete in Vegas this morning.
Oh, yeah. What show was
It was
that?
Samson Showdown, the
Oh,
physique.
okay. All right.
So that went well. And then he's doing the Jay Cutler Classic next weekend.
Oh,
So we're trying two different ways to fill him out, and we're going to see which one works better for the next time.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Tall. This dude's like 6'7", I think.
Yeah, the thing I was more really happy about was he came in 10 pounds heavier than his last contest.
Oh, okay.
So the off season was pretty successful. And
Men's physique.
yeah, we started a little early because of the holidays, but then right after all the holidays, we buckled down and got him down. So he
Nice.
got up close to 300, and then he
Wow.
competed around 250.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, 6'7". He's definitely got to be in the upper twos to look pretty filled out, huh?
Well,
Yeah.
he's gonna have to be even bigger to really
Right.
compete. I mean, because you've seen his frame. To
Yeah. Yeah.
fill that
Yeah.
out's gonna take a lot of muscle.
It's it's a big dude. He's a
Yeah.
big guy. Yeah. Yeah.
So we're gonna try something different for the next one and see how he looks. And then after that, we'll go over all the data, compare the two, and see which one works better, and then go for another one later on.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
He's how old is this guy?
I can't remember. I think he's still in his 20s.
Right. I thought he was something like that, if I recall. 27, 28, something.
Yeah.
He's pretty young. Yeah. That's awesome, man. Yeah. I know it's learn as you go, basically. You got to learn people's bodies, adjust as you go and see what happens, right?
And as they get bigger, you have to change things. The prep's not gonna be the same.
Yeah.
That wasn't nowhere near what we did the first time. The first time he wasn't used to eating a lot of food, and he was coming in. I think he came in around 230, 235 last contest, and we had to
Mm,
really pull his food down a lot for him to start getting leaner.
okay.
And this time we didn't have to do that till towards the end, and he still was eating more than he was used to eating. Uh, like there'd be some days where it was just protein all day, and I do not like doing that,
Yeah.
but that's what we had to do. And think about it, he can take it. He'll mess with me like, dude, I mean, I can still push. If you want to pull more,
Yeah.
pull more. And it works. So this time I was able to keep the fat's really high for most part as his carbs went down. I'd only pull him like a day or two before the weekend just to get a little bit more off before we would fill him back out every weekend.
Huh.
So it worked out. I was happy with this. And with him, you can't, guys that are taller and have longer limbs, for the most part, you really can't mess with their water a lot. In fact, when he does his high days, if he packs the sodium in the high days, he actually looks better.
Mm,
But the first contest we ever did, we tried manipulating the water and stuff, and he it was flattened out, looked soft, looked watery.
mm.
So the next
Okay.
contest, which was the Sean Ray, I think, I had him just drinking it normally, and he looked way better.
Oh,
So we don't really mess with his water. He keeps
no,
everything
that's
up.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So getting a little bit of that expelled, like the MHP, probably the natural
Yeah,
diuretic.
that stuff works pretty
Like
good.
you're supposed to take it 10 days prior. I had him take it maybe 2 or 3 days prior.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't think. I don't know. They do say 10 days, but I don't think you need 10 days. I don't really. But I've never. Some people I put on it before, and I would do like maybe 5 days, something like
Yeah.
that. But I never did a 10-day thing. I, I don't. I don't know. I don't think you need 10 days. I think it works pretty good for somebody who just is holding excess water, maybe not competing, but somebody who has to make a weight. Maybe they have a like a military person or something even. You could take it for 10 days, slowly flush out some water, and you could probably make the weigh-ins with not really dieting even.
I mean,
So
bringing the water topic up, here's something I was going to ask you. Why now in contest prep do you see people not really manipulate the water as bad as you did in the 90s? In the 90s, it was huge. The salt water
yeah,
thing was crazy. Now it's like people just barely mess with it. I mean, the diuretics are safer and better now,
right.
but I mean, back in the 90s, they used to go to the extreme to cut the
Oh,
water.
we used to do all kinds of stuff. Diuretics, cut water. I mean, you start high and then slowly drop water off till, the day of the show. I mean, day of the show, you're not drinking anything, but the day before, you might drink like a quart, maybe the whole day. The day before that, you might have done like half a gallon. Um, yeah, and that was the norm. And I knew some guys sometimes they wouldn't drink water for 2 days almost. They would get water from other sources,
Yeah.
such as oatmeal or fruits or something, but actual water, they wouldn't drink it, which is crazy. And some people have died from doing heavy diuretics and doing that. And I don't know. I think what changed personally is that whole thing started probably from the 70s. I want to say maybe 70s and 80s is when that cutting water really was a big thing. And then it went through the 90s, even the early 2000s, people kept doing it. And I think people figured out you don't necessarily have to stop drinking water. You can keep drinking if you want to and using a diuretic. Let's be honest, a lot of top bodybuilders do use diuretics or some type of diuretic, even if it's mild. Um, Not everybody, but there are a lot of guys who do. And it, for it to work, you need to have water coming in, you know?
Yeah.
That's typical. Like if you take a diuretic and you're not drinking water,
Your body will still
it's
hold it.
pretty rough. Yeah, it's pretty rough. It doesn't you still will lose some water, but it's not as effective as if you're drinking water and you take a diuretic. Flushes more.
Anytime I've had somebody completely stop drinking water, they start puffing up.
Yeah, right. Because
It,
that
I,
aldosterone,
yeah, it'll
aldosterone
adjust.
kicks in. Yeah, and you start looking. You get that almost like that film. Like it looks like they're. I want to say because what happens is right. They get flat, but then you look kind of puffy. So
Yeah,
your muscles deflate, and then you look puffy. So it's the worst look ever.
yeah,
Because then 2 days after the show, that same guy looks phenomenal. He
yeah.
could look great once he starts drinking and everything again.
But they were more extreme. The diuretics were because that was back before the potassium sparing ones, right? So
Oh
you used to
yeah,
have to potassium load before doing the diuretics. Then,
that's risky too when you
yeah,
play with
because
that
if you overdo
potassium.
that, you could have
Yeah.
a heart attack, right? If
Oh
you
yeah,
go too much either way.
if your potassium's off. Uh-huh.
And but now they have potassium sparing ones that are safer to take.
Yes, much safer. And, I mean, guys used to take some Lasix was a big one
Yeah,
back in the 80s. That was very popular. Super high risk, but I would say one of the most popular diuretics back then in the 80s.
there was even injectable type, right?
Yes, which is like I never touched that, but that's even scarier. I think the thing too, what also changed too is a lot of guys back in the day would sacrifice that size to just come in as dry as possible.
Yeah,
Peeled, peeled, peeled. Now, and you actually see it, and you've seen it the last year or two, and maybe the look's going to change, but it definitely looks like they're going for a fuller look. They
yeah,
want fuller, round muscle bellies, even if you're not as dry.
yeah,
I'm seeing that especially in the pro level. So, which personally I think is safer. I think it's probably healthier
yeah,
because guys aren't having to go as extreme. I know in the 80s and the 90s, especially, I mean, guys went extreme. And the thing about it was you could have a decent physique, say, I mean, at a state level, for instance, you could have a decent physique, not even that great, but come in peeled and beat everybody.
yeah,
Even if those guys are bigger, they have better shape than you, a better physique. you'll just beat everybody just because you're peeled. And that was a lot of state level shows. That's how they did it. It didn't even matter. It was basically just a diet
That's
contest.
what it was here for a while.
Yeah, it was just a diet contest. Guys who were winning, their physiques, didn't have the best structures, but they came and peeled and they would just win. And I'm not saying they weren't good bodybuilders, but there was other guys, and I've seen a few shows. There was other guys with much better physiques and maybe not as tight, slightly off, which I felt, oh, that guy probably could have won, but they went for the guy who was peeled.
Yeah.
So now, like I said, now I definitely see a change. They want fullness. They want muscle, which I've always said this, even when I was training, competing. It's bodybuilding, so I think you have to have a level of leanness, but there's got to be muscularity there. You've got to have size. It's about how much muscle you've got, and then that shape, the structure, the shape. To me, that's very important. I don't think that coming in tighter should override that, unless somebody's, really way off, then okay, I can see the leaner guy winning. But if it's close and the one guy is just slightly tighter than the other guy, honestly, I don't think the guy who is shredded slightly, a little bit, maybe a couple percentage, as far as just when you look at him tighter, I don't think that guy should beat the person that has more muscle and better structure, better shape.
Yeah.
I personally don't. I never agreed with that. Um, and and it doesn't even mean, because sometimes people say, oh, well, that guy didn't diet hard enough. If he had dieted harder or dieted longer, he would have beat this other guy. And that's not necessarily true, because there's guys who diet just as hard as the other guy, or sometimes harder than the other guy, and they cannot come in that type of shape. And I know that for a fact. And then there's guys, because I know people that kind of cruise through their diet and come in peeled, and it's pretty easy for them. It's pretty easy.
I've dieted hard as hell, and I still
Yeah.
come in looking like shit because I've dieted so hard, and
Yeah.
I freak out and do something stupid last minute because my mind's not there.
Right. Or it's because you're not at, I'd say 100%, right? You're not peeled to where you want to be. So you try to do something a little extreme.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that you didn't diet hard enough. It's just you have a different body type.
Yeah.
And your body type is probably, it's going to be a lot harder for you to get thin skin and get peeled compared to some other guy who probably has always just been shredded his whole life and then was able to put on muscle,
Yeah.
and now it's easy for him. Because and we probably both have friends that we know that have done that have
Yeah.
done shows, and they breeze through it. I'm kind of in the middle. I tend to look pretty good early out. I start dieting and I start looking really good. Um, but for me to get to that really crisp, dry, shredded, peeled look, I always have a hard time. So I'm that guy who looks great in the gym, great on the beach, great. I can really look good, but when you get me on stage and you're trying to, you're really nitpicking and who's got the crazy striated glutes, I'm not that guy. Like it was very hard for me to get the really crazy lines in my glutes and all that. I could look good and there'll be some, but there would always be this other guy who was skinnier than me, a lot smaller, didn't have the shape, but he had that,
Yeah.
and I don't even think he really tried for that. He was just a skinny guy that put muscle on, really. So yeah, that was it's body types, man. And so I always had a hard time getting that last couple percentages.
Yeah.
Always.
I one time I did the water thing where I started at the higher end and titrated the water down for the contest and
Yeah.
timed it with the sodium. I actually measured my sodium every day and did all that. And it worked. But it worked for like an hour. And I
Okay.
remember
Oh wow.
sometime during the day I went in the bathroom and I came out of the shower and my glutes were perfectly striated.
Okay.
And I was like, we're good to go. And then like the next day or later that night or something
Washed out.
happened, I washed out. So I understand what they mean by this peaking at certain times thing, but especially when some of these shows are in, when they switch the schedule around and stuff all the time, is it really worth it? I
Yeah,
mean, do you want to go out there and look like you do when you say, "Man, you should have seen me 2 hours ago because we thought we were going out at 11 a.m." You
right.
know, because that's how sensitive your body gets when you start doing stuff like that. The littlest thing will throw it off, and it has to be. You have to know when to cut down and like when exactly almost to the window of hours you're going to hit that look.
Yeah, that's the crazy part because and you've seen it too in shows. Guys show up in the morning, they look okay. They come at night, they look totally different. Like a whole different. This guy's peeled now. Everything's out. Too late. He's gonna take fourth. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like, oh man, you this dude showed up. He's the most peeled guy on stage now. What happened? And again, peaking at different times, especially the water. The manipulation of the water with the sodium, the carbs. That's tough. That's
that's a lot
always
of
tough.
variables at one
So
time.
many variables. And then you factor in stress, which can throw that off
Yeah,
because that's another, and we've talked about this before. People go to the show and they're stressing out, and you try to adjust things and nothing really looks right. They get them with the morning show, it's over, they're relaxed. You see them relax, they have a little lunch, they feel better. They come at nighttime, they're so relaxed, everything's perfect. And you did nothing other than now they're relaxed.
it goes as far as like 2 weeks out. Stop looking at social media. What do
Yeah.
people do? They start looking at the hashtag for the contest. They
Comparing.
start these guys that are posting pictures after they work out when they've got a pump and they put filters on. They think, oh, this guy's gonna come in. They get nervous. They may say, you know what, fuck it, I'm not gonna win anyway. I'm gonna eat this burger tonight. Then they go to the contest saying, well, I look all right. And then the guy they saw on Instagram looks like crap
Yeah.
because they did something that they didn't know about, or they did something stupid, or it was just the way they did the lighting or something in the photo. It's this is why I don't like, especially with some of the girls that I've trained in the past. Well, shoot, actually, some of the guys too. Like, I don't like them looking up like Aloha, 2024, and then look at
Oh,
who
doing
won,
comparisons.
and then
Yeah.
looking at, well, who else is doing it this year? Well, look at this guy, and they'll start showing me. I was like, I don't give a fuck what that guy's doing.
Hmm.
Worry about what you're doing. Stop looking up this
Yeah.
stuff because
Yeah. You should be focusing on what you look like from
yeah,
your last show. How do you look from your last show? How do you look now? Look and see. Do that comparison. Really
yeah,
go and see. Okay, wow. Hey, I'm pretty good, or I've got to get a little leaner. I look better there, or maybe I'm bigger now. My arms are bigger. Whatever. That should be the comparisons,
it's
really.
easier to psych yourself out now with
Oh,
the
super
internet
easy.
if you're not careful, and
And that
people do
is
it all
true.
the
What
time.
you said. People, I think sometimes people look for a way out a little bit. They want to do the show, but it sucks. They're dieting and they're just burning out. And oh man, I'm not going to beat this guy anyway. And then they go and they cheat, right? Uh, because the brain, man, your brain really, it's interesting. Your brain wants you to quit, like everything.
Yeah.
I feel like for humans, we're constantly battling that. It just wants us to just not do anything, not
It's
push.
survival instinct. It's just like when you're, on the under the squat rack or
Yeah.
something, and you starts burning, and something hits your head that tells you to rack it, and then you
Yep.
look back, you're like, "Fuck, I could have got 3 more reps."
Yep.
Because your brain tells you something because it's going through so much stress that it literally tricks you into thinking something's going to happen if you don't rack it.
Oh yeah.
That's the
I
same concept.
I have yeah. I have clients, especially newer clients, all the time. They're doing a leg press or something, and their legs start to shake a little bit. They're getting to like their eighth or ninth rep, and I know they can get 12, say, and they start freaking out right around nine. They start looking at me, and they want to rack it, and I'm like,
Yeah,
no, keep going, three more, and they're looking at me like, and they kind of you see like a panic in their face, and I spot them a little bit, I push it through,
yeah,
and then they rock it, and they're like, oh, I wasn't gonna get it. I wasn't gonna. I said, no, you did get it,
yeah.
and you were, but your brain is like convincing them to rack this thing, and I'm standing there spotting too, and they still are convinced
You
of
can
it.
even show them take like say, okay, let the sled down all the way, and it stops with
Yeah,
no locks on it. Now
yeah,
get in there. All right, now you know for a fact that if you can't push it, it's not going to crush you,
right.
and then they'll still start freaking out.
Well, because I think especially newer people, they have a thing about failing. They don't want to fail.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, if even if they know they have the stoppers and the weight will come down and they won't get crushed, it's embarrassing to them. Like, oh, I failed. I couldn't finish it. That's
That's
embarrassing.
what you're supposed to do.
Right. You and I know this, right?
Yeah.
A lot of the new people, they don't understand that. They think if they fail, then they're letting me down or they're not doing well.
Yeah.
When I tell them, no, that's what you're looking for, is you're trying to go to failure. Yeah. So again, I mean, it goes back to the mindset, right? The minute somebody feels like they're failing, they're not going to be able to finish it. They want to rack it. They want to
And
put it back.
you guys out there that have been addicts or have done diets, extreme diets or anything like that, when it comes to that point, you got to push. Your brain will give you the craziest reasons to relapse or to eat or to do whatever. And you know this because after you do it, you look back and you're like, I could have done without that.
Yep. Yep.
I'd have been all right.
And I've been there. I've been there.
I've done it.
Yeah, I've been there. I don't even, I mean, honestly, if you ask, any seasoned bodybuilder who's done multiple shows, I think most of them will say, "Yeah, I've been there. I've done that." It's pretty normal for most bodybuilders to have episodes like that, especially at the beginning, early on. Yeah, it's tough. It's very challenging. So again, it's your brain. It's you, but it's your brain, right? It's
Yeah.
like it's not a separate thing. It's still you, but
That's why the sport is very. I've played a lot of different sports. I've done a lot of different jobs. I've done a lot of different things where physical exertion was how you measured, even to where like that short time I was in air crew school when you had to run and do so much stuff. And nothing compares to
to
trying
you,
to get ready for a bodybuilding contest. It is a
oh, it's tough.
different, it's
It's
a
tough.
different thing. It's not, you can't compare it to training to jump higher on a box or run faster on a track. I mean, at least with performance sports, if you're within a window of weight where you can perform, you can just eat a little more and train harder, and you'll have the energy to push that. Bodybuilding, when you're dieting, you don't have the energy and you still have to push that hard,
Yeah,
to a
and
certain point.
I think it's because it's 24/7.
Yeah.
That's the part. It's not a sport where you're training and you go in and you train and the training sucks. Then you get to go home and relax and get to eat and do your thing. You're training, then you go home and you're still suffering and you
Yeah.
still can't have the food that you want and you're still limiting yourself and your body's feeling that. So there's this suffering that goes on continually.
And you just to get home and have to, the one thing used to get me the most was I'd be like, all right, I got through the day, I'm fine. And I get home, and I'm like, fuck, I got to spend an hour getting ready for tomorrow.
Mm,
When I was doing the water thing, okay, here's all my jugs. I got to, okay, how much do I have today? How many jugs do I take? How am I going to carry all this shit to the gym? Now I got to cook all. Well, I got somebody that's dieting with me. Now there's two people in the kitchen. How are we going to get everything done? Now I got to clean the kitchen. And usually, and it's funny because when you're on a normal day eating normal, that's not a big thing. But when you just want to go to fucking bed
yeah.
because you're so tired and you're
Yeah.
cramping, and then you have to do all this stuff,
Yeah.
that's when you start realizing, okay, is this worth it, or am I going to cheat, or what am I going to do? Am I going to cut corners? And those are the times, you can even be a guy that can push through the workouts and do everything great there. But like I said, when you get home and you have to prep for the next day, or you have to get up early and do the cardio and you can't get out of bed, like sometimes those are the times that really test you. 'Cause,
For
once you're
sure.
in the gym and you've eaten a few meals, you'll get through, you can push through most of the work. Even if it's half-assed, you at least get through it, burn some calories, whatever. But then when you have to do your everyday stuff that's always been there, feeling the same way,
Mhm.
I think that's where some of the people fail.
Oh yeah. That's because you definitely question uh there's so many things going on, right? So I know I used to do it all the time, especially when I got closer. I would think about, is this worth it? What am I doing? Like,
Yeah.
what am I getting out of this? Like, what's the reward? Yeah, I would do that. And yeah, because again, I think in general, bodybuilding, I mean, unless you're a top person, you're not making a ton of money from it as far as competing. Now you can make money on social media but you don't have to be in competitive shape. You can
Oh, you just look
eat
good.
good, diet, look good all year round. You can have your cheat meals all year round, just manage it. And, you can make money from it. As far as competing, well, no, you have to show up. You have to really come in shape. And only certain people are making that kind of money. So a lot of people that are doing the sport, they're doing it because they have a goal, it's a passion. They want to look a certain way. They really like the process of it. So
Or they have an insecurity, or they're just really sick
right,
minded.
well, yeah, yeah, or they like the suffering. Yeah,
Yeah, there's
that's
the
it.
other two
That's it.
too.
Because I know people that will do a show and they'll bitch and moan like the last month, and then I won't see them. They'll do the show. Maybe I won't see them for a month, and then oh man, I'm doing it. I'm gonna get ready. I'm doing this show in 6 months. And I was like, you're gonna compete again? You were miserable. Like I thought you were done. Yeah, well, I really was thinking about it, but now that I'm done, I'm ready to do another one. And
Yeah,
like,
there's people like that.
and I know I'm looking at them. That's
They
crazy.
won't
So
even do an off season. They'll just take some breaks in
no,
between and keep doing contests.
yeah, it's weird. But going to the show, not the show, they're upset. They're upset. They're so mad. They're not happy with their look, whatever. And then they're literally going to do another show. I'm like, okay, well, hey, I give them credit. I guess they don't want to lose, or they want to keep going till they win. I guess. Um.
I've had people do every contest of the year on Island.
Oh
Back
wow.
when we had like 3 or 4 contests,
Yeah, I
it
think we
was
had four at one point.
it was the first year of the Sean Ray
Oh yeah, yeah.
when I was at the Modern.
Or actually five at one point.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
and she did the first one, and she was like, "What do we got to do to fix it?" All right, let's do that. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. And she went from not being looked at to getting. I'm pretty sure it was like first call out with Sean Ray. So I mean, she was improving the whole time. So there are some people like once they come out of it and they think about it, they want to keep doing it, and
yeah.
they enjoy in long term. Looking back, they enjoy it in the time. Well, looking back, they enjoy it, and if that's what it's about for you, that's fine.
It becomes well, they become obsessed, right?
Yeah.
And it becomes addictive. There's an addiction, I think, for some people where it's the suffering and they hate it, but they can appreciate it. And then when the suffering's done and they eat again and they do their thing and they're relaxed, they miss the suffering for some reason. And then they feel weird. I want suffering again. I need that suffering. And there's some comfort in it for some reason. And so they diet again. And then it goes to the same cycle again. They're complaining. They don't like being on this diet. It's hard, but they repeat cycles,
Do you
you
think
know?
it could be like fueling the ego? Like they said, I did all this shit, this stuff you guys doing. I did all this shit on like hardly any food, feeling like crap, and I still got through my day when you guys can't even, pick up your kids from school without bitching about being a little dieting.
It could be some of that. I think it could be some of the ego. It could be making up for maybe a lack of something in their life. Maybe something that they they want to feel accomplished, and maybe there's things that they're not accomplished in their life yet, or they're working on, or they haven't gotten there. And so this makes them feel better about themselves. And like you said, they look at other people who aren't doing it and they say, well, I'm doing it and these people can't do it, but I can do it. Like you said, so it boosts their ego and makes them feel good that they're doing something hard that most people can't do.
It's your anytime you go through a prep and you go from start to finish and get on stage and do that,
Yeah.
you do move up a level into a very smaller percentage of people. It's
Right.
like when you go from being on the couch to being in the gym. All right, now you've decreased the percentage of people, the group that you're in. When you go from the gym to competing, you're now in an even smaller percentage because not everybody
Yeah.
in the gym competes. And I do think there's some satisfaction to that.
For
It's like
sure. Yeah.
you're in a more elite club, so to speak, and people, that now you find the few other people that do what you do, and now you're buddies and you're talking about it, and now
Mhm.
you're kind of comparing and maybe even competing friendly about, all competing and dieting and how
Yeah.
hard you can go. And you become in this newer group, which some people would say is a little bit more elite if they look at it that way. And just that aspect could be satisfying enough to keep them competing.
Yeah, I kind of think so. I definitely agree with that. You do level up mentally. There is a level up to it, and I think you probably change how you do things in your life. It might make you possibly, not always, might make you a little more driven, or you might be a little more of a perfectionist with certain things in your life. It's possible. But I've also seen too people that do bodybuilding and that's their thing, and that's all they want to do. That's all they do. And when the bodybuilding goes away, it's almost like they don't know how to turn it into something else.
They didn't prepare for the transition.
They have a hard time and they're stuck. And even I think Dorian Yates had talked about this, that he had a really difficult time. He went through a lot of depression after he had to stop bodybuilding because he was getting injured a lot. And so he was pretty much forced to stop. Um, he wasn't ready to stop, but he had to just because his body was basically falling apart. He had a lot of injuries and he knew if he kept competing, he wasn't going to place high. He was going to drop and he didn't want to do that. And yeah, he had a hard time. I think it took him a few years. He got divorced. A lot of things happened.
Yeah.
Um, and so that's interesting, right? Because that's kind of like an addiction.
Yeah.
It's not just, oh, this person's a driven person, because they are obviously in that thing, the bodybuilding, but it became an addiction. So they had a hard time stopping it, and their life sort of fell apart a little bit because they had to stop that addiction. And that could be the same with anything, right? Drugs, alcohol, anything. When somebody who's doing that has to stop, it really affects their life. And it could help them, and in the long run, it will help them if they can get through it.
Yeah.
But a lot of times people they fall apart, right? Depression hits hard, and so yeah, I don't know, man. I think that one's tough.
Some people going back to the when you bodybuild, you become part of a new group, and like
Yeah,
I know you said something about how you look at other people and you say I did this hard or whatever.
yeah,
I tell it to people when they go through a contest instead of especially if they're a vet. So it's going to be like when you got out of the military and you go back out in the world
yeah,
and you go to your normal job and they're losing their shit over something too that doesn't mean jack squat. And you're like, this is what you guys freak out about, really?
yeah.
Like, because I
Right.
remember my first job out, they were freaking out over it was like a $5 box of vitamins that wasn't on inventory.
Yeah.
And they were all looking for them. Like, really? Like, do you guys just want like the $10 it costs to make these things? Like, why is everybody freaking out?
Right.
Like, I just 6 months ago, I was doing stuff that was way more important than this, and we all have kept our cool the whole time. Like, that's kind of what it's like when you get through a bodybuilding contest because, people are complaining, well, I don't know what I want to eat. And no, that's not good. And it was like, I eat fish for every meal for 3 weeks straight. Like, shut up. I tried to give them that comparison to it when you get
Yeah.
through a contest, and then you look back at people who haven't done one and look at the shit they complain about.
Yeah. It's like you said, it definitely for me, I felt like I did level up. I did. I felt like I did something hard and I was able to accomplish it. But there's a negative side to it too, because I also was never good enough. A lot of things were never good enough for me. So I was always pushing, 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 wanted to get to the next level, wanted to win another show and wanted to win a bigger show. And I mean, which is good to a certain point, but in bodybuilding, there's also a dark side of it and it can be bad too. Um, so you got to be careful.
There comes a point where some people were like God or the universe, whatever you believe in, is even telling you to stop
Yeah.
by the injuries, by whatever finances are falling apart because you're concentrating on the show and
Mm.
all this, and you're still doing it. I mean, it comes to the point to where everything's falling in line, telling you to stop,
Yeah.
and you keep going. That's when I think it becomes a
You're not
problem.
listening.
Yeah, you're not listening,
Yeah.
and the more you keep doing it, the worse shit's gonna get.
It's true. Yeah. You got to listen. You got to, sometimes you got to step back and look at what's going on and really pay attention because I know people in bodybuilding especially get very hyper focused and everything is about that show or in that moment of training. I'm going to do this show, and they miss a lot of things going on. And sometimes when the show's over, their life changes. Sometimes not for the best.
Yeah.
Other things fail, relationships fail. Maybe they get fired from their job. You know, there's things that
Or
happen,
you
right?
neglect your kids.
Right. Or you neglect their kids, which has a profound effect on your child
Yeah.
for the rest of their life, you know, because you you weren't there for them for that period of time. And kids can take things really hard, especially when they're young. They don't understand it. So yeah, there's just and I think that goes with anything, right? Somebody who is passionate about something, whatever that may be, and they're neglecting other parts of their life. It just comes back to balance,
Yeah.
which is to me, which is probably one of the hardest things to do is always have a balance. I think that's really hard. I think it takes work for sure. If you have family, even if you don't have family, you have a job, you want bodybuilding, you have hobbies, you have kids, all these different things. There are people that are lucky. I want to say lucky because maybe the person's single, you know, and they have this job and that's pretty much it. And they go to work and they work out and that's what they love to do. And it probably makes it easy for them. But eventually that person's probably going to want to get into a relationship. Most likely a lot of people do. You just want companionship and then that's going to put another element in there. And now there's somebody else. But because I've seen the single guys who are totally single, don't have a girlfriend, do shows and they're pretty miserable too. They're like, they got nobody there to support them like that. Nobody close, right? Other than some friends. And they go home and they're just miserable and they're just feel really alone, right?
Yeah.
I've seen that too. So the grass seems like the grass is always greener on one side or the other, but I think they both have their pros and cons, you
Yeah.
know. So yeah.
You gotta know when to call it quits.
Yeah, yeah, or just change or just adjust too. I think a lot of times people are kind of extreme sometimes, you know. It's just something's not working, they just quit, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't have to quit. Sometimes, hey, you enjoy it, you're pretty good at it. Step back a little bit, you
Yeah.
know. Take it easy, step back. Maybe don't do it as often. I used to have a thing with that, you know. If I wasn't doing, say, training, if I wasn't training at least 4 times a week, forget about it. You know, I'm not doing good. I got to do at least 4 workouts a week, or it's just not counting. It's just, I used to have that mindset a lot uh, to push myself, right? But looking back, I realized that didn't make much sense because sometimes maybe I was having a bad week and maybe I just needed to take that extra day off. And then the next week, I'm going to come back stronger and push, you know, and sometimes you just need to. Your brain needs a break, your body needs a break, you know. That's just how it is. And it's not bad. It's not bad to take a day off or 2 days, whatever. It's fine.
Not think
So
about any of it.
yeah, yeah,
You
just
can't
turn
take
it
the
off.
day off and be it's like you can't take the day off of work and be doing work stuff at home. Like you
Yes.
need to take the day off and not do anything related to work at all and just get your mind off of
Or
training.
be talking to your coworker after work on the phone for an hour about work.
Yeah.
You know, if you just take the day off, take the whole day off. Don't think about work. And then the next day come in fresh, kind of excited. I've learned that now everything that I do since I'm not competing in anything now, right? I do my jujitsu and I still work out, but I don't compete in any of that. If I'm not feeling it, I just won't do it. You know. And then what'll happen is because I do have a passion for it, I'm gonna eventually say I don't go to jiu-jitsu for a few days, 3, 4 days, whatever, 5 days even. I'm gonna eventually go because I'm gonna really feel this need to go. I gotta go today.
Yeah.
Maybe the day before or the 2 days before, I wasn't feeling it, and that's fine. Then I eventually feel like I need to go because if it comes a moment where every day I just don't feel like doing it at all, then maybe that's the time for me to say, hey, you know what? I need to change it up. There's something else I want to do now and find something else to do, but I think even taking sometimes you take a week off and then you're just inspired to go back. And a week, depending on what you're doing, is not that big of a deal. Unless again, if you're competing, that's a little different. If you're a competitor, that's different. You have goals. But just for everyday life, just this even pertains to people that just want to look good, that are trying to lose weight. Sometimes, take a week off. You've been doing it for 6 months, a year, you've been on this thing. Take a week off. Just relax for a bit. And you're gonna see, your body is gonna start telling you to go back. Your mind's gonna start telling you to go back. You're gonna want to do it. Um, and it really can be helpful. It can really re-energize you to get back.
I remember the first time I took a vacation, I hadn't stopped training in years. I went home for 2 weeks and maybe trained 3 days out of those 2 weeks. When I came back, I felt so much better.
Yeah.
I hadn't been off island in 10 years.
Yeah.
So for 10 years, Monday through Friday, I was in the gym nonstop, sometimes Saturdays. And then I had to go home. I went home for a week, I think. Didn't go to the gym or anything.
Mhm.
And came back and went balls to the wall when I came back, and it was good. And I was like, I gotta start doing that every year. I gotta
Right. You got
leave
fired
the
up.
island
Yeah.
for a week.
Yeah.
I can't do 2 days here, 3 days there because I tried that and it didn't work. It has to be like a week or two completely gone. And then, because I'm in your from Monday through Saturday all the time. I mean, after a year or two of that, you're like, fuck, I need to get out of here. So usually I'll take a week off or so and go
Yeah.
somewhere off island. That changes everything. So
Yeah. I really believe that. People say vacations, um, some people, some people like the vacation, getting off the island. Some people don't necessarily need to get off the island. They just need to get away from their environment that they're in,
yeah,
do other things, reset their mind a little bit. Yeah, everyone's different. So depends on each individual. Yeah, whatever can get you to, I guess, re-energize your brain and get that focus back.
you need to
Get
find
excited about it, right?
you need to find one thing or one hobby to get your mind off whatever you're passionate about
Yeah.
once in a while. For me, it's traveling, going to concerts and shit. Because when I'm
Okay.
doing that, I'm not thinking about any of this shit here.
See, yeah, that's great.
Yes, that helps out a lot. That's what I've been doing the past couple of years, just going to concerts and stuff. And
Yeah.
that while I'm there, I'm not thinking about anything going on here. But when it helps out a lot.
Because I also tell people, some people are training and they're having a hard time after a while. And I just tell them, hey, you know what you got to do? If you're doing well and you don't want to take a break, or maybe you did take a break and you're still struggling, you have to put it in autopilot. You have to not think about it so much. So when you're getting ready to do it, maybe when you're getting ready to go work out or whatever it is, don't think about it early in the day about, oh, I got to work out later. Just don't even think about it. And then you have to do it. You know what time you're going to go, what time you're going to do it. You just start getting dressed. You just put your clothes on, your workout clothes on. You just start doing it. You grab your things. You don't sit there and think about the workout or what you're going to do or any of that. You just get all your things, get in the car, get to the gym. And once you're there at the gym, then you think about it. You think about, okay, I'm here. I'm doing this today. And then you start. Because the hardest part for people is always getting out the door and getting to where they have to go. That's the hardest part. That's always the hardest part. If you can get to where you have to go, I think 95% of the time, at least you're going to do it. You're there, you're going to do it. So walk into the doors, not sit in your car, get in and get into the gym. You will do it. And once you're moving, then you're there, then you're going to do good. So I do this whole autopilot thing. I just click off all thoughts about what I'm doing, and I know where I'm going to go. I know what I have to do, and I just do it. Because if I sit there and dwell on it, I'll tell you right now, a
You
lot of
just psych
times
yourself out.
I'll psych myself out, and then I start breaking it down. Well, I went once this past week already, and I mean, I still can go tomorrow, and I start thinking of all these weird things to convince myself to not go.
Yeah.
It makes no sense, so I'm just like, nope, not even gonna think of it. Not even gonna think about any of that stuff. I'm getting up, getting dressed. I'm out the door. That's it. Well, anyway, so good talk today. I think Mel's gonna be back with us next week. So, and we'll see how this new setup looks. We're experimenting right now, so hopefully you guys like it. So, thanks for joining us. You got anything else, Jed?
No, I'm good to go.
All right. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Paradise Pump. Aloha.